this is why you keep coming back. This is why you play the game. This is the challenge, is that some days you can pull things off that the best golfers in the world can pull off. And I got to see it 2 days in a row. Hello and welcome to the Caddie Tales Podcast. I'm Mark the Caddy, joined as always by my sidekick, colleague, friend, fellow looper Nick. And we're excited to talk to you about how the beautiful game of golf and life intersect so well. We can learn lessons in both arenas that help us to grow as golfers and most especially as people. Today we are certainly having zero restriction golf on our mind as we look outside here in southeast Wisconsin, and it's nasty out. It's rainy and chilly, and it's going to be so all day. The perfect day for you to get on zerorestriction.com and pick up something there. Use the promo code BESTBALL20 and you will thank us later for when you're out golfing on a day like we're going to be caddying on later today. They don't just have rain gear. They have some pretty awesome other swag as well. So zerorestriction.com. Yeah, Nick, me and you actually are on a loop together today. 11:45 we're scheduled, and it doesn't look fun, but we're going to have to grind our way through it.
Yeah, I actually got the chance to wear my zero restriction raincoat to and from the gym this morning because the rain was pretty bad. So yeah, it should be interesting today. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, my wife grew up on a farm. And she's a hardworking gal, and so she's got a lot of like just roll up your sleeves and get to work kind of thing. And actually, she even was annoyed with one of our children this morning because of their lack of grit. My wife's got a lot of grit, and so when she sends me a text apologizing that I have to go out and work in this today, I know that it's not the nicest of mornings, because not that she doesn't care about me, she cares about me a great deal, but she's like, it's your job, get out there and work, stop whining about it. And so, yeah, but it is what it is. And we're here coming to our listeners the first episode after the start of the season. Last week we recorded and released the episode on the day that we opened. And today I just want to have a casual conversation about the first week. You know, not every episode is just going to be us recapping the week before in full, but since it's the first week, it seems an appropriate thing to do. I actually... after we got done with the podcast last week, it was a Thursday. We were getting ready to open up the Straits on Friday. I got a call from the manager at 9:30 in the morning, and he said, "Can you be here for a loop on the Irish at 10:30?" And so I rushed over there, and so I got one loop in before the opening. Actually, I had gotten in one a couple weeks earlier on the Irish, so I am coming to you today as the clubhouse leader, the shack leader in loops, with 7 loops under my belt as of today. That's right. The leader in loops, Mark the Caddy.
Yep. I'm sure it's going to last for a long time, for sure.
Well,
throughout the entire year.
You can refer to me as Grinder from the rest of the episode, please. And Gazelle. Yeah. Because of a loop we'll talk about later. Yeah.
It's incredible.
How many loops do you have in, Nick?
I think I got like 4 or 5.
I believe the number is 4. Typical caddy behavior, inflating the number. So, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So anyway, just a quick synopsis. If you had to rate how the first week has been for you, physically, mentally, golf wise, how's it been?
Good. I think I'm like 4 for 4 on cool groups, so that's pretty awesome. You don't always see that. As far as my physical conditioning, probably like a B-. I feel like I'm just a little more tired than I'm usually this time of the year, but
they call that aging, Nick.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. So I've been a little disappointed with that, but just been like so windy, and I've been so tired that every time I get home, I'm just kind of almost just like falling asleep when I get home.
I had a loop the other day that I got home for, and the amount of self-talk, motivating I had to do just to put socks on was remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because also, you drive home. We both live relatively close to each other. So 16 minutes, 17 minutes home for me. Mm-hmm. And that's enough time for your body to completely tighten up and cripple in the car ride home after the loop. So even if you're feeling pretty good when you walk off the grass, you're just limping out of the car. So anyways, I was dreading it. I really, really dreading it physically. Didn't do as well training this off season as I had the previous years. And it's hard enough those years. And just had some stomach distress and not feeling well the week before. It's amazing though, like getting out on the grass, working as a caddy, how much healthier already I feel. I feel healthier mentally. It's just so good for me. That's what it's true. It's a job that feeds my soul in the sense, you not only do you get good human interaction most days, but you also get that exercise, you get that fresh air. We were designed to live like that. We weren't designed to be inside all day on a cubicle or on a computer or on a phone. And you can really notice when you go from that kind of life in the winter here in Wisconsin to being outdoors. It's so healthy and so good. The golf was all over the place. The loops were all over the place as far as the types of attitudes and people were concerned. Not necessarily bad, just different. And then, like you said, we got soul-crushing wind to start the season. Mm-hmm. And so overall, I'm really thankful and that my legs actually feel pretty good. Like my legs feel good as we're about to go in today. If anything, you're dreading the weather a little bit, but it looks like after today, we get a nice stretch of weather coming up over the next week or two. So anyways, what I want to talk to our listeners first about is wind, because it was a huge story and I think they'd be interested. And there were some shots that would maybe help people understand that this is a significant issue. And we had 2 days where gusts. Would you agree that there was 2 days that we got gusts around 50?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like
3 days maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Our listeners are probably like, the course is always windy, so like, what's the big deal? But
it's not like this.
Yeah, we got like, I know meteorologists were calling for like tornadoes and stuff like that in the area, and like the wind was just like anything unlike anything I've ever seen before. So it was crazy. I had a guy hit a shot from 130 yards on number 15. It looked like he hit it pretty good, and the ball ended up like 90 degrees right, and he still had 130 yards in. Like it was unbelievable. Like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So let me kind of recap. Friday, I had a group. It was a weird group. Like they had multiple groups, and most of their players didn't take caddies. I got in as like one caddy, and then there's other guys on push carts. That's just no fun, to be quite honest, because you still have to like have those players with push carts, but you're not getting paid by them. You're not with another caddy to have fun, whatever. That day, the weather came and the rain came on the 17th hole, which is a par 3, about 180 yards. I had 2 times this week where we had played at like 230, 240 yards. But anyways, I couldn't feel my hands. It had just gotten where the rain and the cold came. It was, so bad. But a weird thing is that day, my guy hit it onto the green and parred the hole. Another day, my guy hit it on the green and parred the hole. The weekend, or there was one day, so we have a good player. I think I was with you. And this guy, what would you say his average drive would be on a normal day? Like he was a 280-yard hitter.
Yeah, I was
290.
I was thinking like 270-ish, but yeah, somewhere around there. It's hard to tell with those conditions.
It really is. But he was a former high school golfer who was good at one point, and still good enough. I mean, still better than average, and hit some really good shots. So on the downwind holes, not everybody's going to know the holes, but if you want to go look them up, you can. We'll give a description. There was one, the 10th hole. It's uphill, par 4, about 320-ish yards. Okay. But it's a significant uphill. This isn't just a little uphill. This is significant uphill. This is my 7th season. I've never seen anyone drive the green from the green tees. I've never seen anyone drive the green from the white tees, but, it's a shot where people can get close. Okay. This guy he didn't land on the green, but he drove the ball past the hole. Mm-hmm. Okay. He was just left of the green in a bunker, but he drove the ball past the hole, uphill, 320 yards, drove the ball past the hole. Then on the 13th hole, I wanted him to use driver. You, for some reason, were a total pansy. Yeah. Use your player. Yeah.
I thought he was going to go through. I thought he was going to go through the green into the water. So I was like,
that's right. So we've got how far is 13? Like 370 yards?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But
so
you get a lot of
downhill.
Roll yeah, you get a lot of
downhill and roll. But when you're scared on a 370-yard hole to have an amateur golfer go too far, you know it's windy.
You kind of skipped over one of the holes too. So on 11, he drove it 400 yards. He hit it to where Jason Day hit it. So I mean,
yeah. Go watch highlights of the 2015 PGA Championship, folks, and you're going to see Jason Day play the 11th hole. And we often tell players about this still 10 years after the fact that he played the whole driver gap wedge. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those holes where that's a fun thing to share because you look at the hole and you realize, okay, these professional golfers are playing a different game than we are. Okay. Because it looks, not only is it a far par 5, but the way Pete Dye can design golf holes, it looks even further than it is. It's just visually intimidating. There's 100 bunkers on it, all that. Guy drives the ball 400 yards. Yeah. So then on 13, we're like, okay, we had him hit his 3-iron. But then for fun, because we were also doing well on pace, we had everybody hit a drive after they hit a safer club. Mm-hmm. And the guys who weren't even close to as good of players put it up right by the green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your guy was just short of the green, I think, right? And
right on the fringe.
Wasn't quite as long as my guy.
Yeah, right on the fringe, but he wasn't a big hitter.
Yeah, exactly.
And then your guy took a different angle. He didn't try to hit the speed slope or the downhill or whatever. He just went at the right side of the green, and he hit right in the front of the green in the air. Mm-hmm. Like, that's 370 yards in the air. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Insane.
I agree. Yeah.
So those are downwind type of things that we're experiencing. So then we turn that back into the wind, and you feel like you're walking into a brick wall. Now, the 15th hole, I often say on our course, it's a long par 4, and it's the one where, especially if you're in the wind, you find out, did you play the correct tee box or not? Because the people who played too far back, there's not even a remote chance of
getting
there and two.
Now, on a par 4.
Yeah, and I will say that these guys played the correct tee box. They did a good job. They were a cool group, and for all things considered, did a good job that day. But there was no chance of getting there in 2. And my guy, who was driving the ball, he had just almost driven a 370-yard par 4. So that gives you an idea of his ability. Hits a perfect drive right down the middle. Then he crushed a driver off the deck. And then we get up to his ball, and we're 76 yards from the flag on a par 4.
Yeah.
And we just start cracking up. Just started laughing because it's like, this is nuts. Mm-hmm. We're walking into a brick wall. You just nailed 2 shots as good as you can hit them. And he's a guy who could drive the ball 270, and we're 76 yards away after 2 shots.
Yeah. Driver, 75 yards left. That's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it was just kind of and then we get to the par 317th, an iconic hole on our course, and that particular day it was 181 yards from the green tees to the flag, and we had them said hit it 230, 240. Mm-hmm. And my guy grabbed 3-wood, and he crushed it. I mean, he smoked it.
Yeah.
And it was just past pin high. Mm-hmm. So how cool that on that day he got to get a par on this hole. That's pretty hard to do on a day like we had the other day. So, when you're walking in that stuff, it's just exhausting. I could feel it in my chest a little bit, like all this fresh air kind of like congested me a little bit or gave me a little something, some cough or whatever. So yeah, that was, that's going to be my enduring memory from the week, I guess, is that. But I think the thing that was an interesting comment I heard, and this would be interesting to our listeners, I think, is on one of those days, one of the veteran caddies in the shack that morning was sitting there waiting to go out, and he said, "These are the days you hope your players suck." People would think you want good golfers.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, this was the day. This was the next day after the day I was describing. This was the day with the one ball that I had." There was a 50-mile-an-hour west wind.
Yeah.
Okay. Our course is not designed to play well with a west wind.
Mm-mm.
And the problem, if you get a good golfer, is what do they still want to do?
Play well.
Yeah. And who is going to play well that day?
No one.
No one.
No.
No one. I don't want to say it's impossible because there's always anecdotal something, but darn near impossible to go out there and play well and score.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be the type of player that can manipulate your ball flight. You got to be able to hit like those knockdown shots, and not everyone practices that because it's not common that you're going to have wins like that.
And in most cases for the caddy, you don't even know if the player's drawing the ball or fading the ball. So with that kind of wind, you don't know if it's going to be helped or hurt.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a nightmare.
If he hits a fade with that left to right wind, like that thing is gone.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's just gone into a lake. There's nothing you can do about it. So, wind. Let's talk about the other thing that is always a challenge at the start of the season. I don't want to say you get a different clientele in a disrespectful way, because I don't want to be like this elitist with golf. Like we get the poor people at the beginning of the season and the rich people later, and the rich people are better, because that's not always true. But at the beginning of the season, there's some discounted rates. There's also like a tournament that some people come to every year. Like one of the groups I had, actually both of the groups I had this weekend have been there multiple times. All right. So they should know better for one, but the excitement level, like the bucket list nature of it, is a little higher. All right. You also have the issue where these are not people who usually have caddies. It's a big special treat for a lot of the early season players. And they don't often go to like a course like this. So their golf bags are not necessarily ones that were bought with a caddy carrying it in mind. And you add to that the weather, and you add to that you don't know how to dress because the weather changes 4 times during the loop. And so they have rain gear, they have sweatshirts, they have all these things that they've added to the bag, umbrellas, and they're absolute tanks. Absolute tanks. So it's physically exhausting. So I have this group on one day, and I'm like, we're at the bag drop. And I said to them, because these are heavy bags, it's like my second loop or the third loop of the year. You're tired. And I said at the starters table, okay, guys, from this point on, we only take stuff out. Nothing more goes in. Trying to be funny, like trying to send a message. They're like, oh, just this water. So right there then, another 12 ounces. It all adds up. And then throughout the round, just adding 4 beers at a time. God bless them. Twice. Oof. Now, the guy was like, I'm going to drink them fast. I'm going to drink. And to his credit, he did do that, But tanks. I will say, and I told this group that I was going to, I asked them for permission to talk about them. All right. And I'm not making fun. I'm just illustrating an example of us talking about all the time coming with right expectations. All right. Not letting your eyes get too big. So I had met this guy and he had emailed in. I didn't know who he was. He had emailed in to request me. He listens to the podcast. So he emailed into the course and said, I want Mark. And so I go and I look and I find this bag by the putting green, practice green. And I see the name. He's not there. Then all of a sudden I see this guy walk up to it and I'm like, hey, I'm Mark. He's, oh yeah. He goes, I've listened to all your podcasts in the last week. And I said, I said, well, obviously not the one where I talk about how bad 14 slot bags are.
He had a 14 slaughter? Oh,
he had a 14 slaughter. And I'm like, ah. So, but then what was the challenge was this. Super cool guys. We ended up having a really good day. I'm not making fun. But he had a yardage book that he had found online. Not the yardage book you can buy on property, like a much more detailed yardage book. Oh. And said that he had worked on it for 2 weeks. And knew every club that he was going to need to hit.
Hypothetically.
Now, yeah. So if you heard somebody say that, Nick, what would be your thought? Like, what would be going through your head if you met a player and they said that?
I'd say let's rip that up because you're probably not going to need it. I mean,
yeah,
you're a caddy. You got everything right in here. I mean, just trust your guy.
And and it's like, yes, and I didn't want to rain on the parade as far as that. Like, he was having fun opening it for a while and looking. Yeah. Like, you get to the first green, you get to the first tee box, and you're like, hey, that bunker is X far away, and it's like he still needed to look at the yardage book to verify it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, this is their round. But the thing I was most concerned with is, guys, it's a hurricane out there. We're not shooting 70 today. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking it. Mm-hmm. And one's telling me they're a double digit handicap. Another one's kind of got what I think was I'm not sure it was the most precise. Good players. They hit many good shots, but at Whistling Straits, when the wind's gusting at 40 at times and whatever, you're going to hit some shots that aren't so great. So anyways, to their credit, they did. And I said to them, I said, go and listen on the drive home on Sunday. Listen to the podcast that we put out last weekend that describes the progression of a loop at Whistling Straits. Because even though we recorded it before I met you, you are going to feel like I was describing you. Mm-hmm. Because it was kind of the come with excitement, we're going to win, we're going to go low, to around hole 4 or 5 realizing, okay, maybe not, to around hole 7 saying, let's buy some shooters, to let's go well in at the turn window on stuffing this bag with beers, and so super cool guys, and ended up having a ton of fun, but it was a progression to get there. Mm-hmm. It was one where you had to concede to the golf course that day. Okay. Yeah. And, I don't see any shame in it. See, like, some people might think, oh, you're making fun or what. No, it's just, it is what it is. This is what should happen. This is what's normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I had some guys that were in the B flight for that tournament, and, they kind of came with that attitude, like, oh yeah, we're going to win this thing. We're going to put some shots together. And then I think, they realized that, that would be very difficult. But like, so the way the tournaments run, you can kind of keep an eye on like the leaderboard. You can see how everyone else is doing. And they were just shocked that like, they weren't just falling down the leaderboard. I was like, dude, everyone's playing in the same conditions. It's really tough right now. You're not going to score well, but what do you tell them?
Yeah. I mean, this idea that, and I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, is like, some of these things that people say out there, and not necessarily was it this weekend, but are they successful on some of this on their home course? Like, because some of the things are just hard. Like this idea that, on a par 5, you're just going to always know how to lay up to exactly 100 yards because you like a full shot. Like how often are people really successful at that? Because they talk like it's just this normal thing that they do. And for us, we know it doesn't quite always work out according to plan. Mm-hmm. And I guess our sample size is maybe too big, where we err on the remembering the ones that don't even come close. Mm. Whereas their sample size is a little smaller and maybe they remember some of the more successful shots. I don't know. But another loop that I wanted to reference, though, shout out to my boy John, because he came and was just treating himself, had found out his story, cancer survivor, a young guy. He's just going to be 40, but about to celebrate 10 years cancer free. Also had taken off a lot of weight. And so he was treating himself to a day out in our neck of the woods. Good for him.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And we were the first group off the Irish course. Just had a great time. super gregarious personality. He was, outgoing, very talkative. So a perfect guy to be with.
Just like myself.
Yeah. A perfect guy to be with if you're going to be a one ball.
That is nice, yeah.
But we played super fast, but we didn't rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like he had a lot. I mean, he was moneyed off the tee, which was scary because that was the day with the 50-mile-an-hour west wind.
Mm-hmm.
And we finished under 2.5 hours, like just over 2:15, I think. And you like went and looked at like how fast did you guys have to be going?
Yeah, you were cruising. I like I said, I couldn't believe that you could walk the course that fast without a golf bag on your back, but that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Look at you.
It was. And like he hit the ball down the middle. He just stepped up and hit the ball. Like I gave him yardages, some reads, but it wasn't like when he putted, it was okay, ball out left, it's step up and hit it. Like it was a very casual round of golf. And very generous guy, good talkative time. But there was two shots really, the par threes on the back. So we were, I guess we're going at that point, we're going north. And so the ball is going left to right towards the lake with the west wind. And on the 11th hole, there's a big hill to the left. We call it like the tallest peak in Sheboygan County. That's the old fable or wives' tale that there's buses underneath it that built it up or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think he started it left of like that hill.
Oh boy.
And you see, and he hit a high ball.
Yeah.
And then the ball, you just see it traveling right across the right side of the green. And see, that's the fun thing is like he's cracking up, I'm cracking up. It's super fun. Mm-hmm. Well, then hole 13, which people who've played the Irish course would know, is got two different tee boxes, and one of them's an elevated tee box where you only see the top of the flag, you barely see the green, you don't see anything. That was where it was that day, and so I said, you're going to hit two balls because this is a low percentage shot, and both just flew way right. But we get up there and you can just see it's a taller flag because of the way the hole is, that it's a bigger flag than the other holes. It's just like basically breaking in half.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of
the green.
Yeah, it kind of fun to see. So so many good memories from all that kind of stuff. But here's something, Nick, and maybe you can think of one that you had. I think we were out together for one of them, so this would apply. We talk about how the wind forced some bad shots because that's what it was going to do. On the flip side, this is why you keep coming back. This is why you play the game. This is the challenge, is that some days you can pull things off that the best golfers in the world can pull off. And I got to see it 2 days in a row. The 6th hole on the straights has a bunker in between each side of the green that has an inappropriate name that caddies use and players who've been there a number of times used. But the hole is called Gremlin's Ear. Mm-hmm. And when you get in there, usually it's, people hit it into the wall of the bunker 3 or 4 times, take pictures, take video, whatever. And in my previous 6 seasons, I had seen somebody get up and down out of there once. So significantly lower percentage than hole-in-ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times? Is it something you've seen much of?
No. I'm usually just, trying to talk the player off the ledge at that point that they made it into this bunker, and they're probably cursing me a little bit, like how'd you let me aim, left of the pin? And I'm like, I didn't tell you to aim there, but it's very rare, and to see it happen was pretty incredible. So that was awesome.
Right. Yeah. So the guy gets up and down one day.
Yeah.
And both were a little different. Like the first day that I saw it, the bunker shot was a little better and closer to the hole, and he made, a short putt. The second day, on the front 9 at least, the guy who did it was making pretty much any putt that we put in front of him. Yeah,
he had a good caddy reading his putts, so that
that's
helped.
right. That's right. No, he was really good at that. So he had a little long. Yeah, he had a longer putt, but still, you go from having one time in 6 years to 2 days in a row. And I'm like, this is why you keep moving forward. This is why you keep, as my sweatshirt says, focusing on that next shot, because beautiful things can happen and you celebrate them. What I like is that both groups knew to celebrate that, because it's like, let's celebrate the good ones more than we lament the bad ones, especially when, you can't do anything about this wind that we're going to have,
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing you can do. And sometimes I feel like I struggle, trying to convey like a positive message through that. Sometimes I think I get maybe a little too negative and I'm like,
Yeah. No, I think golf's, everybody who's golf knows this, is that the challenge in our mindset is that sometimes we can do what they pull off on TV, and we get to play the places that we see on TV. And so sometimes that can get your mind thinking you can do regularly what they do on TV, and we can't.
Yeah.
They're special. They're different. But sometimes you can. So when you do, celebrate the heck out of it. And when you don't, chill out about it a little bit, because what we're doing is we're looking forward to that next one that is going to happen. And there were things like interspersed with eights and ball in pockets. We had some, like one group I had this week, every single player on it parred the 12th hole, the par 3.
Wow.
Pretty
That's awesome.
Pretty crazy that happened, so you're kind of like mixing up. Okay, we're all gonna on 11, we're all gonna like be all over the place and feel like the hole's never gonna end, and then on 12 everybody's gonna par. It was like that kind of week, and so there were some good things and some bad things. One day though, and this is where you're like, this is just exhausting. I out of my first 7 loops, I only had this one where by the end of it, I'm like, I'm dead.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember your text.
Dead. And well, I counted it up like 8 holes. My guy hit it to a different hole.
Yeah.
He didn't miss the fairway. He hit it to a different hole.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So just exhausted by the end of that. And, but again, we're back at it. It was good. What about seeing guys in the shack? How was that for you?
That was great. Yeah, it was great to see everyone. Well, most people. I don't know. Corey's Corey. So,
wow, you're calling him out now, even. So, the regular listeners of the pod know we have a guy that we mentioned that we work with regularly, and I love working with him. I've only gotten to work once with him so far this season, though.
He's gonna be angry.
Yeah, no, we're a team, and yin and yang. We just work together well, but. He definitely, like this morning, he's just texted me, just absolutely getting me fired up about going out into the rain because he already got a cut for today. So,
lucky guy.
Yeah.
What a lucky guy.
Yeah. So this next week's going to be a little interesting for us. We're not going to have as much to talk about because we're about to, right after we open, have a little brief shutdown. Maybe our listeners will follow it on the Golf Channel. We've got a tournament from historic Black colleges and other universities and programs that promote diversity. So I don't think it's all historical Black colleges. I think there's some other types of organizations or institutions in it as well, but it's all about diversity. And so that tournament is coming to Whistling Straits, and being like a college tournament, they don't use caddies. And so we're going to get a couple of days off here. And, to be honest, that's kind of cool because you get a little bit over the soreness, whatever. But also I think hopefully our other courses are not full and we can get out and play golf.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be training, I guess, but hopefully maybe I'll get a round or two in. It's what do we got, 5 days off or something like that? So
yeah, the weather's going to be pretty nice, and from what I can tell after today, and so hopefully we can get out and play some golf and enjoy some time with the Caddy brothers that we've reunited with, and it's fun to see everybody trickle in. And the fascinating thing for me always though is, you haven't seen people for 6 months and it's legitimately like you're back to it. Like you were there yesterday. It's very much a get back to it. And Hey, what's up? How you been? Good. Okay. And now you're back to normal.
Yep.
So yeah. And anyway, okay. So there you go, folks. There's our first week. Send us. Oh, you know what else I want to mention real quickly before we close with Good Caddy, Bad Caddy? I'm doing some work on this behind the scenes, reaching out with a guy who's also helping me with golf bag companies. Try to create a partnership where we can have a Caddie Tales logoed, branded, partnership, a licensing deal or some sort of deal with hopefully Titleist or Sun Mountain or Ping. Some of the ones that are better carry bags.
Yep.
Yesterday, I probably got 8 DMs asking me what bag is good because people want to walk golf more. So I thought that's cool. I think golf's better when you're walking or whatever, but they're like, I want to walk more, but my bag's not good for it. What's good for it? I will say there's a lot of them, but I am going to single one out. I carried a Titleist Players 4 on whatever day it was, Tuesday. I would carry a Titleist Players 4 every loop for the rest of my life without complaint. Wow. I will say this, if every golf bag was like I carried on Tuesday, the job would become infinitely easier. Infinitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's something, too, that I'm surprised that more companies don't, consult us as far as trying to design, a carry-friendly golf bag. We've carried them all. We know what's good. We know what's bad. So,
right.
Yeah, get a caddy to help design your golf bag.
Yeah,
That'd
so
be my
I'm working
suggestion.
on it. I think it's I think it's a significant deal because I think it added to the value of the round on Tuesday because it kept you fresher. It kept you moving quicker. Whereas a couple of the rounds this weekend, it didn't enhance the round. It actually took away from it a little bit because these weren't meant to be out there, especially jammed with beers and 19 changes of clothes, So, companies, we're open to talking to you and we're open to working something out because it's an important thing. And a lot of players want to walk. I love it. I love hearing that. They want to walk their golf courses. So let's make that happen. That's how golf is better. Okay. We are welcoming the Good Caddy, Good Caddy, Bad Caddy segment. Focus on something we did good. Focus on some things maybe we didn't. And look forward to getting better during the next week. So let's start with you, Nick.
Yeah, so I'll go with I'll start with my bad caddy, and maybe it's something that I kind of learned from you actually that doesn't always happen, but I actually thought you did a master class of actually keeping your player his spirits up through that windy day that we had. I thought he was having fun the entire time, and I thought that was pretty awesome by you. On the other side, I don't know if I did quite the same thing for my guys, so that's definitely something I can work on it. And I guess I can start today with that. Good caddy, I guess I had a one-on-one, a single bag, just me and him all day, and I thought I did a pretty good job of, interacting with him. And normally something I struggle with a little bit. So shout out to Robert, he's my guy. He's tried to hook me up with a lady actually. So we're cool, made good friends.
Oh, so. That's right. Hey, folks out there. So I gotta share. Nick, who you have heard mentioned a number of times that his gift, he's better at it than he thinks, by the way. His gift is not necessarily being super relational with the players. He had a 1 ball on the first day, was it?
Yeah, first day.
He leaves with he finishes his round with an invitation to a golf trip out in Utah, and a girl's phone number from the player. Okay, so that's what we're talking about with Nick out there. He's just absolutely killing it, making friends, making memories. So way to go, Nick.
I felt like you.
Yeah. And then, so for me, Good Caddy, a couple of things. I really felt like I saw the greens really well for the start of the season. I was really thankful for that because it's like that thing where I think we've used this illustration before where you're let's say you were in a play and you had all your lines memorized right before you go on stage. You think you forgot them all. Well, the first day of caddying is kind of like that. You think you forgot everything. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like, man, we were pretty spot on all so far, so hopefully I don't jinx it today. And I feel like physically I'm thankful. I did a good job. The one day that was with you, now we only had a 3 ball, so we did something that's called chopping the loop, where I carried 2 bags for 9 holes, and Nick carried 2 bags for 9 holes. And what made me really thankful, why I feel like a good caddy, is you were exhausted too.
I was.
Like you're 11 years younger than me, way more, and you're exhausted. So I'm like, well, if Nick is tired, it's okay that I'm tired. Or if I can keep up, that's a good thing because that was a couple of the bags were heavy. Now the one that I had for just a single bag on the back 9 was a dream, a treat. And I was watching you looking like you were dead, and I was like, oh, this is great. Yeah. Bad caddy this week, I think it just reminded me what you have to do every loop is remind yourself that though you've seen things 1,000 times, though you might have your instinct on what's going to happen, you cannot let your poker face show. Because for that person, it's a bucket list. For that person, it's their one time. And so don't act like the smartest guy in the room. Let them have their fun. Let them have their experience. Enhance their experience. You do that well for the most part, but in my mind, I'm like, just make sure you're checking your attitude at the door. Like, if somebody wants to bring their yard, just let them have it. Like I constantly was reminding myself that this weekend because I don't want to be someone who gets negative thoughts in their head. And I want to treat every player's day like it's just huge because it's huge for them. It may not be huge for every caddy because it's work and they've done it before. Mm-hmm. But for them, it's huge. So I'm just going to keep working on that, I should say. I'm going to be mindful of that. There weren't any gross missteps, but I could see the temptation there. All right, folks, thanks for being with us here on this week's Caddie Tales podcast. We look forward to sharing these and many, 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 many more stories. Hopefully some many more up and downs out of crazy above your head bunkers. Hopefully some hole-in-ones. I heard there was a hole-in-one on the 7th hole with that 50-mile-an-hour west wind the other day, by the way.
Insanity. How?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, yeah, that had to look like a boomerang. Amazing. But it happens. It happens. So we will be out there reminding our players, just like we want to remind you in every walk of life, that, there's going to be some windy days. There's going to be some stormy days. There's going to be bunkers, divots, shanks, misses, out of bounds. But on this side of the ground, there truly always is a next shot full of hope and opportunity. So take yours.